Good morning. Wave, wave, wave. I'm Kelly and this is Rosa and we're back for another week's activity video. So as you can see, we're back in the kitchen and we're baking this week. And so this week's activity is something really simple that maybe you don't even need an instructional video to do, but the videos are fun and it's a great way for us to engage and talk about this activity and why we're doing it. So today we are making a classic, which is chocolate chip cookies. Now you probably have your own favorite chocolate chip cookie recipe and feel free to use your favorite, but I'm going to use the one that's my favorite right now. And so why are we making chocolate chip cookies? Rosa, why are we making chocolate chip cookies today? Do you know? No. Well, we're making chocolate chip cookies today because the scripture we're talking about is Luke 10, 1-9, and it's about Jesus sending out many disciples to go out into the world and do ministry. And so we talk about vocation, about what is our call to ministry. And I think one of the really beautiful things about this passage is that what Jesus tells the disciples to do, you want to hold this? To do is very simple. Go and be with people and share hospitality and help people if they're sick and be together. And if they get things from your ministry from that, great. And if they don't, that's okay. So we're going to show that you don't have to do something big and elaborate to be meaningful and have an impact on people. So we are going to make some chocolate chip cookies, because who doesn't love chocolate chip cookies? You sure do, don't you? Yeah. And our chocolate chip cookies are going to be to share. So we're going to make them and then maybe we'll package them up in some takeout containers and deliver them to some friends. Does that seem like a good idea? Are we going to share our cookies? Yeah. Okay. So this is the chocolate chip cookie recipe I'm using. It's a big recipe, so for the sake of expediency, I'm going to half it. Oh, I'm going to start my oven. Preheat my oven. 350. There we go. And so we are going to start with 1 cup of margarine. Potentially unpopular opinion. I like my chocolate chip cookies with margarine instead of butter. I think they hold their shape better. So here we go. Can you dump it? Here we go. Wah! In it goes. Okay? Margarine is always the right consistency. I don't have to make sure I leave it on the counter ahead of time. Potentially unpopular opinion, but there it is. So, and half a cup of white sugar. And then 1.5 cups of brown sugar. Now, usually you pack your brown sugar, but in this recipe you don't. So it's like 1.5 cups of loose brown sugar. So Rosa, can you dump that? Oh, now your hands are full of margarine. Good one. And so then you're going to cream all those together. Now, I'm a little old school. I don't use a stand mixer or a hand mixer. I do all of my cookie making with my handy dandy blue bowl and wooden spoon. So it's going to take us a little second here to cream it all up. I don't know, there's something about doing it the old-fashioned way that I find really appealing. You want to turn? Okay, let Mommy get it started, okay? And then Rosa can do it. All right, you work on that, okay? While I get the next ingredient. So the full recipe calls for 3 eggs. So whenever I half it, I'm like, 1 egg? 2 eggs? I don't know. We're going to go 2 eggs today. Oh, Rosa, that's just sugar and butter. That's not yummy yet. Okay? You think it's yummy? Here we go. There's 1 egg. Can you stir? Oh, no, we're not eating it yet. We're stirring. You're a little taste tester, aren't you? So yeah, I think in this time where people are kind of stuck and can't get out and connect, finding a little treat on their doorstep is a great way to brighten someone's day. I chose chocolate chip cookies because people generally really like them. I'm always conscious about choosing nut things and avoiding that just in case. Now, of course, there are lots of people that can't do gluten, so you should, know your audience before delivering. That's just butter, Rosa. That doesn't even have the sugar. Okay, so there we have our sugar and our butter and our eggs all creamed together, just getting the last bits of that sugar out of the cup here because it got stuck to the margarine. All right, so it calls for 1.5 tablespoons of vanilla. So I guess half of 1.5 is 3/4. We're going to have to wing it, Rosa, because I don't have a 3/4 tablespoon. But my personal feeling is a little extra vanilla never hurt a cookie. In it goes. There we go. Can you stir that in? You stir that in? Good girl. Okay, and now flour. If you can find flour, I guess, to make this recipe, I was fortunate right at the beginning of the shutdown. I found a big 10-kilo bag. You can see I've been making my way through it because I really like to bake. Sometimes for me, sometimes for other people. All right, and so the full recipe calls for 5 cups of flour, but because we're halving it, we're going to do 2.5 cups of flour. Are you ready, Rosa? Now, a lot of people do 2 bowls, and they mix their dry into their wet, and that's maybe how you're supposed to make cookies, but I just do it all in 1 bowl. Here, you can stir that in. You stir it in. One, 2. Stir. That's right. 1/2. All right, and what else do we need? We need salt and we need baking soda. All right, I've got baking soda and I've got salt. So, are you stirring?
Yeah.
Okay. It calls for 1 teaspoon of salt, so 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I always kind of undersalt my things, but... Hold this? Okay, you do it. And it calls for 4 teaspoons of baking soda, so 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Here we go. Great way to practice your fractions and your math at home baking. If that's something that you're doing with little people. All right, there we go. There's so much cool science in baking, so I think it's one of the best home education activities.
What was that,
you can
sir?
do.
What was
Here,
that,
can
sir?
Mommy stir it first, and then Rosa can stir it, okay? Mommy's just gonna get, the flour combined so we don't make a big mess. We might still make a big mess. That's okay. So with the extra 1/2 an egg in here, it might be a little wet, but I don't mind that. Some people are really into chilling their dough. I find this recipe doesn't need it. My mom and I have a difference of opinion about making this cookie recipe as far as cooking time goes. So she thinks because it's so heavily weighted towards brown sugar that you should leave them in the oven longer, and then that lets the brown sugar caramelize and you get like a crispier cookie. My personal opinion on chocolate chip cookies is the less baked they are, the better, frankly. But when I serve them to other people, I want to make sure they're definitely like maybe more cooked than I would cook for myself, even though I like mine underbaked. So the recipe calls for 10 minutes. My mom would do maybe 12. I would maybe for myself do 8. For other people, I'm going to do 9 minutes. 9 minutes in the oven. Okay, so we have our dough. There it is. Look at that, Rosa. But it's missing something. It's missing something important. Rosa, what doesn't it have in it yet? What's it missing? What doesn't it have? Chocolate chips. Chocolate chips. That's your favorite part of chocolate chip cookies. So you can measure out your chocolate chips. Or you can just do the amount that feels right for you. I'm going to put in 1 cup and see how we feel about that, and maybe we'll add some more. Yeah. You like some? That's looking like a pretty reasonable amount of chocolate chips, but you know, we're doing it for other people, and nobody wants to get the chocolate chip cookie that doesn't have a chocolate chip, you know? So make sure we stir it all the way down to the bottom, so even the batter at the very bottom still has chocolate chips in it. I find there's a strong connection between church and food and hospitality and grace. Think it looks good? Do you think it looks good? All right, I think we're ready to put them on a pan, okay, Rosa? So they're kind of gooey, but that's okay. That's what makes them delicious. So I've got our pans over here. I don't grease my pans for cookies. I don't bother with parchment paper. They have enough margarine in them. They come right off. They clean really easily. So I just take a teaspoon, like a small spoon, and we scoop it onto the tray. No forming, no balls, just drop cookies. I think that's the fastest and easiest way to do it. So here we go. There's 6 cookies. Can we count the next 6, Rosa? Can we count together? 1. What comes after 1?
1, 2.
2, that's right.
3.
3.
4.
4.
5.
5. What comes after 5? 6. That's right. Good job. Nice.
9, 10.
Oh, you counted all the way to 10. Good job. All right. So now we're going to pop our cookies in the oven and set them for 9 minutes. All right. And so maybe what we'll do is we'll pause and we'll come back to you when our cookies are ready. We're back with our takeout containers and we are ready to go. So once our cookies are all cool, make sure your hands are nice and clean, and then you can pack up your cookie containers and put a lid on them, maybe a nice note, and drop them off at the house of somebody who would really appreciate a little pick-me-up or a treat during this time when we can't be together. A nice way to let someone know you're thinking about them, or maybe even a surprise for neighbors or someone you don't know very well. You can work on making new friends. So you can, you know, they will know we are Christians by our love. And so what better way to share love than chocolate chip cookies, eh, Rosa? Yeah, good job. High five. Bye.